You were a spark in convincing Bruce to take on this project. What did you hear in Bruce's approach and sound that made you want to explore music with him?
I'd heard Bruce on some of his pop records, and also his of course his singing is really undoubtedly really great, and his musical taste is really like pretty broad. And I heard some jazz, a jazz sensibility in his playing, especially when he improvised. And I actually got a chance to play with Bruce years ago with Herbie Hancock, and he was the host of Coast to Coast, a show that had various musicians from different genres come together and jam together. And I happened to be out to L.A. at the China Club, and there was a cast of Who's Who, Bonnie Raitt and Sting, and Lou Reed, just to name a few. And Bruce was on piano, and actually that's the first time I got a chance to play with him. And I heard some things there that possibly that there was some really interesting things that maybe we could get into. And after that, I didn't see Bruce for a while, and then he started coming to the Keith Jarrett concerts, and he came to the concerts, and he said, I'd really like to do a jazz album. And, I said, yeah, that'd be cool. And a couple of other people said to him too, Pat Metheny, among others, and Chris McBride said, yeah. And so, what I like about Bruce's playing, he's real authentic in that he comes to it, he puts his spin on the music. And whether he's playing jazz, he's a big jazz fan, as you know, he studied jazz in Florida. And so, it's not new to him. So I was curious as to, what his approach would be, what his take would be with playing some of these jazz pieces. He sent me a CD with him playing the compositions, and originally I thought, wow, okay, these are some tried and true standard pieces, Solar, Giant Steps. And I thought, okay, he's jumping off the deep end here. And after I heard that, I thought, well, the solo part, I wasn't sure. So, I called up Bruce and talked to him about it. And he said, well, listen, I think this will work. Get in the studio, let's see. If it doesn't work, okay. Anyway, get to the studio, we run over the pieces, we start playing. We had about 4 days there, so we could get comfortable, Bruce could get comfortable with it. And as it progressed each day, Bruce got more into it, and more surprises were happening. And he's not afraid to take chances. And the spontaneity of what he does is what I like about it. And he's not afraid to take risks, do some challenges. So that's what got me into wanting to do this project with him.
Pardon me. He has his fanny pack. I don't know if you're picking that up.
Oh, no, I'm not.
You're okay? Okay. You're fine. Okay.
Yeah, how was that answer? I hope I didn't ramble too long. You can edit some of that.
A lot of good material. Very good. Second question. Having collaborated with Miles, Keith Jarrett, and so many of the greatest improvisers in jazz, how do you approach each playing situation, which often stylistically vary greatly?
Well, I play in a lot of diverse music situations, and basically I generally keep an open mind about it, and the biggest part of it is to learn to wait and learn to be intuitive and go with the flow of it. And that way, provided that the musicians that you're playing with think the same way, it's pretty exciting and pretty interesting.
What is the foremost thing a Bruce Hornsby fan unfamiliar with the jazz lexicon should listen for in this trio's music?
Well, you know, I'd say this to the average Bruce Hornsby fan who likes a lot of his pop music. I think some of his pop sensibility translates or transfers over to his jazz instrumental playing. And you'll find the same spin, that same kind of spin, the Hornsby stamp comes across on the music when he's playing Solar or Giant Steps, particularly on the Giant Steps. I mean, he really surprised me, and I think he surprised a lot of other people. You know, he did his homework on that. But it still has that Bruce kind of, it's a quirkiness about it that works, you know, and it's fun. It's fun to, you know, to be involved with that.
Having played some, if not most, of this material previously with other groups, are there any songs in particular in this repertoire that you have long held an affinity for?
Well, you know, there's quite a few jazz standards on the camp meeting CD, and there's a few that I really enjoy, you know, have had a lot of fun with. Giant Steps is a composition that I still do today. I practice when I'm warming up for a gig. I go and play downstairs in my studio with Giant Steps. Solar is very, very, I guess, that tune has gone on, been played so many times, like from Miles to Bill Evans, the Keith Jarrett Trio, and myself, I play it. And also the Bud Powell songs also, which are sort of jazz standards. And it's very interesting the way Bruce, his concept of doing these pieces, which might surprise traditional jazz listeners, but I think the approach is fresh. And the Celia, like the way he approaches Celia and Mpoka Loco, which you know, I've heard many times by some great pianists, particularly Bud Powell. And one more tune I like. We'll be together again. That's a beautiful ballad. You know.
You have played with Christian many times before. What makes a bassist a good partner for Jack DeJohnette?
I think I'm known as, I guess, a bass player's best friend in a sense, and vice versa. I mean, the bassists that I play with have good time, good harmonic sense, particularly a rhythmic concept, because, you know, I like to play around and stretch rhythms going back and forth. So, you know, people like Chris and Dave Holland, Ron Carter, Drew Gress, for instance, or Cecil McBee, Jerome Harris. You know, it's more than just playing time. It's a dance, and it's this dance I like to have from a bassist. You know, that is not afraid to either break it up and jump in there with me, or we jump in it together, or can, you know, hold their own while I'm going off up to the ozone somewhere, or we can go out together. You know, and a good sound, good tone quality. Bassist has developed a very good sound, rich sound. Those are some of the things that I really like in bassists.
Versatility, lyricism, chops, and the ability to embrace to the moment are all essential to great jazz, athletic achievement, even the flow of human conversation. Can you describe the feeling sitting there behind the drum kit when, to quote Bruce's friends, the Grateful Dead, the music plays the band?
Again, okay, when I'm behind the drums and